All right. All right. Welcome, everybody. It is so nice to see everybody. I'm Wendy Singer, Director of Programming for No Shame on You. On behalf of our organization, staff, volunteers, and board of directors, I want to welcome you to this afternoon's program, How to Be a Safe and Supportive Person to Those Struggling with Mental Health. This is part of No Shame on You's monthly virtual Feed Your Mind lunchtime series on different topics. Just a little bit on No Shame on You. We were founded in 2014 and dedicated to eliminating the stigma associated with mental health conditions so the people who need help will seek it. Family members and friends will know how to provide proper support and to save lives. And we do this through all sorts of community outreach programs, workshops, podcasts, blogs, teen programs, and more. We are so honored to be partnering with Rogers Behavioral Health today. They are sponsoring today's program and have been an incredible partner to us. Rogers Behavioral Health is a nationally recognized not-for-profit provider of mental health services and addiction services. Rogers offers evidence-based treatment for adults, children, adolescents with depression and other mood disorders, eating disorders, addiction, OCD, anxiety disorders, trauma, and PTSD. In addition to a growing network of regional locations in so many places, California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia.
A little bit more about the difference between direct and indirect costs when it comes to budgeting.
I'm going to just put everyone on mute. I think that was, if everyone wouldn't mind making sure that they're on mute, that would be great. I think I just took care of that. There we go. So Rogers is all over the place, or including places close to home for the Chicagoland community members. It's also in California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Washington, and Rogers operates 3 inpatient behavioral health hospitals, 17 residential programs, and 8 outpatient centers in Wisconsin. The system also includes Ladish Foundation Center, home to Rogers Research Center, the Rogers Foundation, and the Ronald McDonald Family Room. In addition, Rogers leads the nationwide WISE Coalition with the goal of eliminating stigma related to mental health and substance use disorders. And that's who's with us today. On this call, just to let you know, is Lauren Silverman, who's a fantastic partner and an outreach specialist for Rogers. So if anyone wants more information on Rogers, she is going to put her email in the chat. A little bit of housekeeping. Please keep your sound on mute to avoid feedback, so we can hear, unless you're going to talk at some point, which is totally okay to unmute. This will be an opportunity for people to discuss and share. If you're not comfortable putting yourself on mute and asking a question, you can always send me a chat. I'm Wendy Singer, NSOU, and I will ask the question for you. So that's no problem. And now I'd like to introduce Brittany Fair. Brittany works at Rogers Behavioral Health as a training specialist. In this role, she facilitates trainings for leaders in nonprofit education, healthcare sectors, and many more across the country. Brittany also facilitates programming for staff at Rogers Behavioral Health and with parents in the community. Prior to joining Rogers, she worked for MetaHouse as a senior residential support specialist and lead care coordinator for Wisconsin Community Services with the mental health and AODA population. Brittany earned her Bachelor's of Science in Psychology and Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from University of Wisconsin-Parkside. Brittany received her Master's in Social Work from Concordia University in Wisconsin and is an advanced practicing social worker and working towards becoming a licensed social worker. Without further ado, I would like to let Brittany get a talking.
Well, thank you, Wendy, for that introduction. Oh, I don't know if I can compete with that. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. My background You will feel my energy and my passion for this population, this conversation just throughout the day. I am just genuinely, I love this population, this conversation. So getting into how to be a safe, supportive person for those we care about, it's huge. It is really huge because I know personally, and I'm sure a lot of you know someone, whether close or just in the community, who deals with mental health challenges, not even just mental health challenges, but just identity challenges, all types of challenges. And so today, our time together is really just going to be a discussion, a conversation around how do we support those who have those struggles with telling someone, that first step of just acknowledging what the issue may be. So here we go. We ready? And it is still the lunch hour. So if you are eating, please feel free to eat. As Wendy stated, if you have questions or anything, I am big on conversation. So come off mute or put into the chat. We will be sure to acknowledge your thoughts and feedback, because I want to hear from all of you. All right, so I am going to share my screen. All right. So before we kick anything off, our team, our community learning and engagement team at Rogers, we are really big on mindful moments, just getting everyone centered and focused into the space and time together. This is going to be a very quick hour, but I hope it's going to be a very impactful and meaningful hour for all of you. But for maybe just 30 seconds, whatever you need to do to center yourself, get yourself settled into the space, you're coming off lunch. Let's just take some deep breaths, focus ourselves, put ourselves in where we would like our intention to be today. What would we like to gain from this experience today? So I'll just quiet myself and give you about 10, 15 seconds to just take some deep breaths. All right, and I invite you all back to our time today. Okay, so what are we talking about? Today is going to be very interactive. I have a slew of videos, maybe 3, 4 videos, just to help you hear from other people who deal with mental health challenges, but what that looks like having those conversations. So the first video I'm going to show, it's about 60 seconds, and just how do you start those conversations? All right, so let me know if you all can hear this, if it's too loud, not loud enough. Good, okay.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you wanna talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
All right. So we understand that having these conversations are hard, very hard.
Hey guys, I am.
Having these conversations are very hard and can be awkward in the time. And these feelings are very normal. But the thing that you want to take away is that just being there, showing that support, even if you're just sitting in a room quietly with that person who's struggling to just get their feelings and thoughts off their chest, that means a lot to them. You're showing up, whether in that silence or even that question that you heard. Do you want to talk about it? What do you need in this moment? Small questions can help that person feel supported, feel that they are cared for, feel that they are valued. And in that moment, you may not have that conversation, but at least it tells them that you're there, that you're someone that they can come to, that they feel that they can confide in, to start to let off these feelings and thoughts that they have. So a little statistics. Here you see schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, trauma, drug and alcohol abuse, eating disorders. There are so many things that people may deal with. One in four people deal with whether a mental illness, mental health illness, or drug and alcohol abuse. Okay, we understand that. We go through life and we see people, we know people who are dealing with these everyday struggles. Okay, and 47% of people in our lifetime either go diagnosed or misdiagnosed or undiagnosed. Okay, regardless to that, these conversations, if they can find someone that supports them, that makes them feel that they are still normal in society, regardless as to their mental health diagnosis or medications they're taking or whatever it may be, if they feel they have a sense of belonging, that can go a long way than their diagnosis or what medications they may be taking. So in our time together, it's really changing our perspective on, okay, yes, I know this family member or friend or somebody in the community who may deal with these challenges, but they're still human. And our goal is to get us to continue to help these people feel human in society, that they belong, that they have something to offer. So I open it up to all of you. Okay. Mental health challenges are common and they impact us all on many different levels. But as mentioned before, there are additional challenges that people go through that we don't talk about. So I invite you all to put into chat, come off mute, whatever is comfortable for you. What are some other challenges that are difficult for people to talk about? And here in this picture, you can see some words that are bolded more than others, but it's to get us to understand that it's not just mental health that people struggle with. It's other things. And we're going to have a conversation about all of those things.
You already have some things coming up in the chat.
All right.
Abuse, a comment that stigma is real, autoimmune diseases.
Absolutely.
Sexuality, sexual issues, devastating health diagnoses, racism, bias, oppression.
Yeah.
Just to name a few.
Yes. And we see that there are lots of aspects of our identities, our experiences, our needs that are difficult to share with others. Okay, a lot of times people have difficulties just being honest with themselves. So we understand that it's hard going to others about sexual abuse, autoimmune diseases, okay? Because to them, they'll feel judged. They'll feel that they don't have a place in whether it's their family or their social circles. And mental health difficulties is no different. It's just another something that makes it difficult for people to be open and honest and feeling okay with. So again, thank you all for putting into the chat just other difficulties that we see. Okay, it's not just mental health. We have everyday things that goes unnoticed. And we want to bring attention to that, because if we're going to talk about supporting people, we're supporting them as a whole being, not just what they may struggle with or something that we feel that is wrong. So let's just acknowledge that. No, we're looking at the whole person and how to support them and what they may need. And thank you all for continuing to add to the chat. Really appreciate it. So here, again, like I said, I'm going to keep showing some videos just so you can hear from people who have themselves some mental health difficulties and what it's like to open up to let people in, to have those hard conversations, but to get everybody on the same page so that you know how to support people when you notice differences in their behaviors, in their language, and how they may be showing up. So this next video I'm going to show you is on Tyler Posey on reaching out. Let me know if this is too loud or not. All right. Let's see.
Hi, I'm Hannah Hart.
Hey guys, I am Tyler Posey, and I am going to be sharing a personal story of mine with mental health and just kind of dealing with awkward silences and friends helping me out through it. Almost 3 years ago, I lost my mother to breast cancer. She was just there for me more than anybody, and I would go to her for everything. And then when she died, I felt like I didn't really have anybody to go to. I think humans need to break down and cry every now and then, and I would do that with my mom. And then after she died, I felt like I had no one to do that around. You know, my friends, you know, I gotta be tough in front of my friends, in front of my brothers, in front of my dad. I would go to work, and then I would go home. There were a bunch of times where my best friends would hit me up, and if I, you know, wasn't looking so well or doing so well, they would bring it up and be like, hey man, are you okay? What's going on? I'd be like, yeah, I'm okay. I wouldn't really get into it. And I realized that, you know, that didn't make me feel any better. When I get depressed, I feel like I'm a burden on people, and I don't want to burden them with my problems. And so once I got over that, I was able to open up more with them, and you know, we just have these great deep conversations now whenever we're feeling sad. I even have a tattoo. It's a tattoo of 2 hands shaking like this, and it has a lot of different meanings, but to me it means literally to reach out to my buddies when I'm in need of them. If you know somebody well enough, it's kind of easy to tell if something's a little off. One of my buddies just recently has been going through some stuff. Whenever I would have a party, he would kind of isolate himself in the back and just kind of, I could tell that he was down. Sometimes I try to let him come to me first and see if he wants to, you know, ask for help or say, hey man, I'm kind of low right now. But if he doesn't, I'll usually reach out to him. It's always kind of awkward to start that conversation. But now I think we've gotten comfortable enough with it, and I've seen the good that it does, so I try to get rid of that awkward feeling and just kind of go right for it. It's easy to forget that reaching out to your friends really kind of almost immediately makes things better. Therapy is something that I discovered a few years ago, then I started doing it a lot, and I'm a huge fan of therapy. I kind of use myself as an example. I say, hey man, I've been to therapy and you know, it works, and just talking your feelings out, getting everything off your chest, that's therapy in itself. If you recognize that a buddy is kind of struggling, or you yourself are, I know how hard it is to reach out for your own reasons. I have my own reasons why it was hard. Just do it. It is kind of an awkward situation and not the most natural, but I think we have to get over that and make it a really natural situation. So just do it. Just kind of face your fears and ask somebody. It'll save a life. Save mine.
So that was one, and then I want us just to hear from another one on a different mental health struggle, and then we'll get more into.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Liza Koshy,
Sorry,
and today I'm going to tell you a little
make
story.
this bigger. Okay. All right, here we go.
About my anxiety. So I turned 20. I had been moved out to LA. I was doing different stuff out here and having fun and just being myself until anxiety hit me like a brick. Mine specifically is social anxiety, which is ironic for the job that I have as a social influencer. Talking to a camera was something that always made me feel comfortable. Talking to a camera right now is much better than me talking to a person because I'm a socially anxious person. So dealing with my anxiety was hard, and I'm still dealing with it, but it's not something that can't be dealt with. I have a friend who opened up to me about his OCD, and it was something that was very tough for him to open up about because he had never opened up to anybody about it before. And I completely related to that because I had been holding in my feelings about my anxiety for an entire year. It just started this free flow of conversation between both of us about my anxiety, about his OCD, about these two things that we didn't know about each other. We thought we knew each other so well, but it wasn't until we opened up about our mental health that we really, really connected even more. Now we actually have a code name. Whenever I'm feeling anxious or whenever he's having, you know, his thoughts, it's called Tiffany. It's just like, hey, Tiffany's here. she's freaking here, man. It feels good to be able to label something and put it away in your brain rather than let it become your entire brain in itself. Everybody has some sort of mental health to take care of. It is a part of your health. It's something that you live with, and that's something that you learn to deal with by opening up to people about it. It allowed me to understand myself more as a person, allowed me to accept that it's a part of me rather than pushing it off and saying, no, this isn't me, this isn't me. It's a part of me, and it's something that I'll always live with and deal with, but it doesn't define me.
All right, so we saw 2 videos, one person talking on depression, one person talking on anxiety, and what you'll see, learn as you all become comfortable with having those tough conversations with a loved one, with a friend, is that once it happens, things become so much more meaningful. Like, though you have those deeper conversations, and just mentioned in one of the videos is you thought you knew each other so well until you had that conversation on mental health. And that's another level of somebody's life that they may have shut off for so long because they just didn't know how to express it or be open. But once you open that and you show that you care, that you support them, that you may not understand fully of what their mental health struggle concerns may be, but just being in that space with them can go a long way. It gives their life, your life, new meaning, because you're not only just understanding, but you're walking with them to better, to more happiness, to just being open, feeling comfortable that, like she said, it's a part of me and it's okay. You know, taking that and feeling empowered, like, yep, I have anxiety, but it doesn't stop anything that I want to do, that I will do, anything. All right, so before I get into steps and things of how to be a safe person, how to show up, are there any questions yet? Any comments? Just want to open the floor to everyone at this time.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi. Nice to meet you all. This is really a great conference. I know Wendy. I'm a hospital chaplain, so I deal with stuff. It's in acute care, so we see all kinds of things. And I run a conference every year. I'll tell you about it later. And I used to always, when the man was talking about losing his mother, I think it's interesting that, like, people lost parents all these years. My mother died when I was 15, okay? And I probably still have dealing with it, but I think it's the issue of, at what point do you say, do they really have mental illness, or is it untreated depression related to grief? And kind of to dissect that out, Brittany, and I think it's hard. I think when someone's young, it's a trauma no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
When they're old, it's a trauma to lose your mother, right? And so I always struggle with, I did a conference on depression and grief, and I asked somebody, when do you medicate? Sometimes you have to medicate because they can't function. Other times they just need really good therapy, maybe individual and group, to finally get some kind of resolution in the horrible trauma of losing their mother, or any kind of something like that, where it's not really a mental illness. Like, he wasn't born with a mental illness, but his mother died, and that was his rock. That was his safe place, and he doesn't have it anymore. And so what is he going to do about it so that he's a whole person out of all of this horrible struggle that he's been through? So I just want to put that out there, not as a solution. There isn't a solution to this. It's really, as we call it in the chaplain world, how we journey with someone at this point. I'm not a therapist, but how we journey with someone along this way and be that safe person, while we know that grief isn't Kubler-Ross. It doesn't ever completely resolve. It comes and goes, and triggers come up again, and then a person can regress, right, in that touch thing. So I just have to say that my own experience, and with the intense stuff that I witness in a hospital, people losing people all the time, and just that not everybody's got mental illness, right?
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes it presents as a mental illness. And if someone's patient enough to listen and to bring in the right kind of helping professionals, because we collaborate with our social workers here, we collaborate and we use referrals to the community, because sometimes this stuff does get resolved and people do heal and function in a better place than when they had the trauma originally occur. So I just had to say that. And then I'll invite you to my conference on spiritual struggles with Ken Pargaman in May. Yes. We're going to talk about some of this stuff because Wendy, I'll send it to you. Okay. I'll send you the invitation, because we acknowledge this stuff in a very powerful way because we're very much, what's the word I'm looking for? We don't work in little bubbles. We are collaborative between the therapy professions and the spiritual care professions. So I just had to share that.
Thank you for that share. Thank you. And that is huge to point out, because the grieving process can look very different for many people, and it's not diagnosable, but you just have to pay attention to what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and you just have to let the people grieve too. Like, you can't really put a timetable on that. You can't really say, well, life goes on, because that's almost not, like, almost a slap in the face to that
Yes,
person.
yes,
So you just have to let them grieve with whatever that looks like, and show up. Show up. If they shut down, still present yourself, but like you said, being patient. So thank you for that. Thank you for that share out.
Yeah. Rogers is it's got a great reputation here in Illinois. I think you're in Wisconsin, right? Aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, but they have a
Mhm.
great reputation here. And I know in the Jewish community, I'm a rabbi, many Jewish people look to Rogers for really excellent treatment. So it's very cool, Wendy, that you brought these folks here today. Just want to say that.
Wonderful. All right. So moving on. So there is a Safe Person campaign. And as you can see, this decal, it says, I seek to listen and support. So it was incorporated with the youth, but I mean, adults, elderly, everyone can benefit from this campaign. I mean, I have it on my phone, just showing up. Okay, it's almost in my nature, just to listen to people. I just love have conversations with people, because you get so much more out of conversations when you go in listening instead of going in to talk or respond. So with this campaign, and here you see the website at the bottom, safeperson.org, you can, it's almost like making a pledge. Like, yes, I seek to listen and to support. I look to show up for my friend, for my family member. And I wear this, I don't wear it, but my phone wears this decal very proudly. And it's just a reminder to me, just knowing that sometimes I may be in a space where I don't have the capacity to listen and show up or listen and support. And that's okay also. It is okay if we are in a space that we don't feel that we can take on any extra. Okay, but transparency, being open, goes a long way as well. So it's not so much just trying to get our family member or friend to open up, but it's also being able to be present, be supportive, show up, and acknowledging that if you don't have that capacity or you don't have that mental space, to let that person know. It's just follow up, like, you know what, today may not be the day. How about we check in with each other tomorrow? Or if it's a family member, trying to figure out who else may be somebody that they can confide in, so that you're still showing your support, your care, but you're also trying to make sure that this person has maybe a plan B, a plan C in place for if you're not that person that's available at that time. And so we're going to get more into what Safe Person looks like, and it is engaged. I want you all to be engaged in this conversation. So there will be some reflective questions to get you all thinking of maybe there was a time that somebody came to you and you just didn't know how to respond or how to show up for that person.
I think we have a question, but I think we're going to get into it right now.
Okay.
I have a difficult time with what kind of support I need clarity. I'm open to suggestions and opinions. So I guess this is someone who is struggling with what support they need.
I can answer that now, or I can get into this and it may come out. Now, is it support you need because you may be dealing with something, or is it support you need in regards to helping someone, and you may be that person who just needs to debrief or digress after helping someone? I'm just trying to understand.
Maybe we give both.
Okay.
Because it's the question is phrased, I have a difficult time with what exactly kind of support. So sometimes if it's new, the whole concept of mental health is new, or what sometimes it's hard to identify what that is and pinpoint it. Do we really need a label when you're talking about your feelings? I'll pass that over to you.
No, there isn't a label, and no big words or defining anything. In regards to support, once you get out your feelings, your thoughts of whatever it may be, if it's mental health challenges, if it's everyday life, a lot of times what you'll understand if you're supporting someone, or even if it's just yourself, hearing yourself talk, getting it out helps to kind of lay out, okay, this is what it is. All right. A lot of times we suppress feelings, suppress our thoughts, and we just go through this cycle of, I have to do this, this, and this. And you don't really go back to the root issues of what is really happening, what you're feeling, because you've pushed it so far. So for self, I would really just suggest sitting in all of those feelings and thoughts that you have, and honestly reflect on just what it is that you need. Do you need somebody to just be a soundboard for you, to just like be a wall and you're talking at them and they don't respond? Do you need someone to ask you the questions of, okay, what is the next best step? What would you like for me to do or be in this time for you? Is that what you may need? Is it something where you just needed somebody's presence there to hear yourself, and then you navigate or plan out what your next steps may be? There are many ways, and I can't really give a specific answer because everybody is different of how they view support, receive support, give support. But for support for self, I would really just say sit in it, because a lot of times we don't allow ourselves to just sit in negativity. We just, if it's bad, we try to do something to cover it up or get out of it or make ourselves feel happy or change the emotions or whatever we may be feeling. But it is okay to actually sit in those negative thoughts, because what you'll find out is that a lot of the feelings that you suppressed, those will come out, and then you'll have a better understanding of why you may be feeling that, where those feelings may have come from. Like it may bring back exactly what brought you to that moment in time. So I know personally, I do that for myself. I sit and I actually let myself sit for a day or two to really think. And then that next day is, okay, now what do I need for myself? Do I need to surround myself with love? Do I need to talk to someone about what I've already talked through? I'm seeing some things in the chat. Let's see. What if I'm
Brittany, before
yes.
we do that, I just want to also comment to that question. I personally feel like sitting with it, right? Everything that you just said for sure. And then also just starting by maybe starting that conversation by saying, even for the first time, this is new for me, vulnerable. I'm actually going to be opening up and I'm going to, this is taking a lot for me to go there, but I'm going to try, and I'm going to start here, and I'm asking for that safe space.
Yes.
So it looks like you are, possibly looking at maybe starting down that path, which is so awesome. So I love, Brittany, what you were saying about reflecting and then taking baby steps to share with trusted people.
Yeah.
Right.
And in that space with starting, affirm, like speak those positive thoughts into yourself. Like, okay, I got it out, but I'm strong. I'm still great, whatever it may be, to now empower yourself. You touched rock bottom. Now we're working ourselves back up. So what does that now look like? All right. And then, yes, then what does your support look like surrounding yourself or whatever it may be? So thank you for that, Lauren.
Yeah. And you know what? It doesn't have to be rock bottom when you
Mhm.
share. It really, by
Yeah, that's
talking
good.
and sharing before that
Yep.
happens.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
that's the beauty of opening and coming from a vulnerable place. I said earlier in the chat as you were sharing, it just is so freeing when you're able to actually get it out and have that conversation and you're reflecting and you're seeing it. And then sometimes, just letting it out is important. And Brittany, this is actually going to be a nice segue, I think, to there was somebody who had said, what if I'm in a place where I don't have the space to have the conversation with the person on a that I'm trying to support on every day, but that person has a very limited number of people that they trust. I worry that they don't have someone else to talk to. I'm also reading that sometimes it's draining to be that person.
Mhm.
So how would you counsel there?
More so asking, it's more so around intention. What is your intention for this person? Are you showing up just to like be surface level, just to say, yeah, I'm here, I care about you? Or are you truly there genuinely trying to help navigate this person through whatever it may be? I'm really big on intention. If I know that I can't show up 100% in my genuine, authentic self, then I won't do it, because that's doing more harm than good, I think. And to this person's comment, where this person you may support has a limited circle of people they trust, that could be because of who they've gone to in the past has completely disrespected their trust. It didn't matter to them. So,
But Brittany,
yes,
but some people just are private people and they don't,
that's fine.
you know what I mean? And I would say it's like, I'm a rabbi, so there's very few people in my circle that I can really open up to that I'd be worried that down the road they might betray my confidence because I'm a professional. And I'm close with a cousin, like a sister. And sometimes she'll say, right now I can't listen, but I do care about you. But right now I can't. And if I'm not in any danger, then I know that later on we'll pick up the conversation. I think it's the assessment of, is this person who's confiding to me have such great needs? There's no way on earth that I can carry this load. And it wouldn't be fair to them to try. And I think it's being self-aware as a professional. I mean, you guys are in social work, clinical settings. I have different situations. I could have someone who broke their leg and they're going to be fine, and someone who's just been widowed and has a whole different issue. So it's like, because I have a variety of people that I encounter, and it's all acute care short journeys. It's not long-term therapy, nor am I trained to be. And I think it's just the understanding of those of us that are in the helping professions, that people turn to us to be aware and say, you know what? I've heard this story over and over again, and they don't seem to be getting better, even though they're telling me this. And maybe I'm better off finding someone else to share them with, because their needs are so great and they're not really doing better. They're actually maybe getting worse or not functioning as well. And some people just want to, like, I have adolescent daughters who are wonderful, and they just want to tell me stuff and then they're fine. Mom, I don't want your opinion. I just want you to listen. Thank you. I'm fine. And I feel, okay, they're young adults now, right? They're adolescents. And so I don't really have to fix anything there, right? Those aren't little kids. It's this assessment of me as a caregiver going, I have to be aware, what are they really asking? Is it something I can carry, or is it really better off in a responsible way to say, you know what? I don't need to try this anymore because I can't get them into a better place emotionally. I certainly can't do as well as you guys do at Rogers. Okay, right? It's a whole different environment what you do up there. And people do very well by you. That's the word on the street in Illinois about Rogers, I have to say, being in the Jewish community. It's people know that it's very good. People in behavioral health know. Sometimes you just got to get out of Illinois, go to Wisconsin, and really get the right kind of treatment, and vice versa. taking a retreat?
I'm just going to jump in and just share with the group because
Yeah.
our mothership, if you will, is in Wisconsin. That's where we started 116 years ago. We're a non-for-profit. It's awesome. We're outside of Wisconsin as well. In Wisconsin is our inpatient and residential treatment programs, but I work out of the Skokie Clinic, which is where we have something called partial hospitalization and
Wow.
intensive outpatient clinics, and we're in 10 different states. But that's not what this is about. I just want to let you know that we do have, and my information's in the chat.
Thank
This is
you.
when traditional outpatient therapy is not enough. So
Thank you.
that's
Thank you.
6 hours a day, 3 hours a day. So there are various different treatment programs that we offer, and I appreciate you sharing that we're doing a good job.
Thank you. I didn't know this. It's a good referral for us to know that.
Yeah, no worries. Reach out let's connect afterwards. But back to you, Brittany. Sorry for interjecting.
No, that's fine. And you know what? I'm going to just keep moving because I know that as we go, questions will come up.
Should we just make sure, you guys are okay with this, the last 2 questions? Are you guys okay with that? If there's anything else with that before she keeps going, just maybe shoot that in. Okay. Someone just said, okay. All right. Back to you.
All right. So looking at safe person and 7 promises. So by displaying this decal that I have, the promises are 1, acknowledging that reaching out for support is a strength. Okay. And we saw that in those videos that's the start. That's a start. You may not have those deep conversations in your first interaction with that person, but just them coming to you is a start. All right. And that's a strength. 2, listen and react non-judgmentally. This is huge because we know that media and things externally in society, they just heighten and put a negative spin on things. And it kind of infiltrates with, in our households, we see it on TV. And so we want to make sure that we go in to listen with intent, but also non-judgmentally. All right, whatever biases or things that we've heard with people who have depression or schizophrenia or substance use disorders, whatever it may be, leave those out, because this person is coming to you just full on transparent. So you want to give them that same respect. All right, number 3, respond in a calm and reassuring manner. All right, I've had people dump on me and I've just let them dump. I let them have their moment. I'm listening. And then my response is, okay, what else do you need? Is there anything you need in this moment? How else can I provide support for you? You don't want to be like counteractive and it's like, well, why did you do that? Or why did you react that way? Because then it almost belittles them and they go back to that shell of why they don't express in the first place. Okay. And even in them expressing, pull out those strengths that you hear. They're feeling mad or whatever it may be, but it's like, okay, I hear that you care. I hear that you want to be better. Let's talk more about that. All right. So it doesn't move from the problem, but it just keeps them in an empowered mind state so that they know it is okay. Number 4, reflect back to the feelings, strengths, and ideas I hear when listening. So I tied in 3 and 4 together, pulling out those strengths, pulling out the feelings that you hear. But this is why you go in to listen with intent and not to just respond from what you hear. If you're listening, you can hear it all. You hear the tone of their voice. You see their behaviors. You see the mannerisms. Okay, but you also can pull out those strengths. Like, this means something to them. This is of substance. Okay, so let's dive into that more. Number 5, ask how I can be helpful and respond as I am able. Okay, so this 5, I think, encompasses all of this. Just asking those questions. What is it that you need? What does support look like for you? How can I help you in this time? I'm one who I'm ready to fix. I go into fix it mode and want to become a problem solver. And I've taught myself to not take that mindset when people want to dump or vent or have conversations. Because if you think about it, as people are expressing, if you get them to the core and dig deep of what the issue is, in that digging deep, they can almost pull out or navigate themselves to a solution on their own.
It's better that way.
Exactly. Because it keeps them in control. It keeps them empowered in their feelings and everything that they're going through. They had a problem and they came to a solution. But we're still there right alongside of them with that support of, okay, in this moment, what do you need? How can I help? Asking those questions, keeping them in the driver's seat. 6, do what I can to connect to other supports if asked. Okay, so we're looking at what other resources there may be. If you personally are not able to take on this situation that this person is dealing with, who else can we surround you with to still feel supported? And lastly, maintain confidentiality and communicate if exceptions exist. Okay, I've worked with clients in residential settings, hospital settings. There may be a time where confidentiality has to be broken if they are a harm to themselves, to someone else. But what is important is that verbalize that in that moment. Let them know that, okay, I am here to help you. And what you've already expressed to me, I want to make sure you're safe. I want to make sure you're safe and supported. So here is what we may look to do, but I want to make sure you're along with me to do that. I'm not doing anything without you, but this is what I heard. Okay, but if there's no harm or no threat and they just are sharing with you, confidentiality is huge. That's that trust factor, and you don't want to break that. Okay, so we are going to fly because I want to make sure that I respect everyone's time and just getting through this. So looking at number 1, acknowledge that reaching out for support is a strength. So again, like I said, this is all going to be reflective. If you want to put into chat a time that this has come up or just reflect on your own time, great. But again, the whole purpose of this is just to get us all to think of what support looks like. How do we provide support? How do I give myself support after supporting someone who's, needed support or needed guidance? So just think of example of a time when you felt uneasy about seeking help or someone helped you to feel more at ease. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Are you in a place that's calm and peaceful? What did that other person do or say to see yourself as wise for seeking help? So how did they make you feel comfortable? Or how did you help somebody feel comfortable in that moment of coming to you or you going to someone to open up, to be transparent? And then what if the person does not approach you or you want to approach them? What does that look like? And I know that first video we watched, you had a group of friends or family just sitting there. Sitting in silence is okay. It is. Because I guarantee you, if that person looks to the right or left of them, wherever you're sitting, they know that they at least have somebody there for them. So looking at number 2, listen and react non-judgmentally. Think of a time when someone's response to something you shared was judgmental towards your feelings. What did they do that made you think that? Was it their behavior, their actions, what they said? How do you avoid appearing judgmental? Understanding that we all come with our biases, judgments. It's natural. Unfortunately, I know we all say, I don't have judgments, I don't judge. It's natural. It is. But how are you being mindful of leaving those judgments?
Okay, I'm going to jump in.
Yes.
Brittany, for a second, this actually works really nicely with this slide. So somebody in chat just said something along the lines of, how do I encourage a family member to go to therapy? We've had that conversation in the past, but every time I remind them, they become defensive. How do I do that to get that, to be more? How do you do this? Because that's tricky because they're going to feel judged, right? They may feel like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm really bad, and it'll make them feel worse.
Yeah, and really, it's I don't know if all of you are aware of the stages of change, but you're looking at pre-contemplation, contemplation, and in that moment of contemplation where they know that they're open to therapy, but they just haven't decided to take that step. Keep that person in the driver's seat and let them know these are your decisions. I'm not here to make a decision for you. Okay. And just continue those conversations about what feelings they're having of the resistance or that reserved feeling of going to therapy. Because then in that moment, they can't throw it back to you of that judgment. It's more so I'm wanting to listen to the feelings that you're still having that come up about going to therapy. What are those feelings? Let's talk about that. And so that'll kind of break those walls down of that person being honest with how they feel about therapy. And they may not be ready for therapy after that conversation you have with them, but it'll just get them thinking like, okay, I may have heard that therapy is this, or it's this. Okay, let's talk about that. And you as the person supporting them may not have ever experienced what they're talking about. But if just having those conversations and continuing to seek out those feelings of why they're feeling this way in that contemplation stage, it'll almost move them to, okay, I think I am ready for at least just trying to get my foot through the door. Okay, but if it's, well, why aren't you ready? Okay, you said you're ready, but why aren't you? We had this discussion last week and now we're here again. Then that's when they feel like, okay, 1, I can't come to you. 2, I knew that you would judge me because I've been flip-floppy. These are your decisions. You are determining what is best for you. I'm just here to walk you through some of these feelings that still may come up. And that's okay. You may not go to therapy for another 2 months. Let's just keep having these conversations, because to them, having those conversations shows that they can trust you in that time of feeling on edge about going to therapy. But it's also, even if you say, you know what, I'll offer to go to your first session with you. That's the step. That might get them through the door. Okay. But it's just asking, hey, what if I come to the session with you? Let them determine what they may need. Okay, it is hard to get somebody to make a complete change. It is, or do something that is not normal, or not normal for them. So it's almost just making them feel comfortable in those feelings that they have and normalizing that it is okay to feel that way. It is okay.
I recently had, actually this week, a therapist reached out to me because her patient who needed a higher level of care was resistant to do that. So she had shared that as a therapist, she can't see her anymore without her having, some extra help. And she reached out to me this week to ask some of our team for some language. And I just pulled my chat and I just want to read to you because I love what you just shared, Brittany. But for what it's worth, everyone has a different times you can plug and play. But our clinical medical director shared this kind of verbiage, which is, this is a tender conversation. I care about you and I want to help, but I don't have the expertise to help at that level of care. So I believe I want to be that person for you, but I believe the next best step is for you to be with a therapist. Mm-hmm. And if any of you guys need any just outpatient therapist, not related to Rogers, you're welcome to reach out to me. And we know some really, really good, effective, wholesome, they're an, great outcome therapist in and around Chicago and even outside of Illinois. So I'm sorry for jumping in to
No,
share
no,
that,
no.
but
Thank you.
yeah, it literally I just had that information provided to me. So I figured I would share that.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes hand in hand. So moving to promise 3, respond in a calm and reassuring manner. Think of a scenario where whether a friend, family, coworker discloses something that would get your emotions to rise. What could you do to deal with your emotional reactions in the moment?
Mhm.
And what would be realistic reassurance in that scenario? I mean, it's easier said than done of just remaining patient and staying calm. And sometimes people know what buttons to push and all of that, and you're just ready to explode. How do you keep your emotions and feelings in check? Okay, with
Deep breaths, deep breaths. Take
Yes.
notes. I don't know.
with
I'm
the comment in the chat before where you talk about therapy and they get defensive and it just makes you like ready to snap, like, but you need it. No, nope.
Gotta go
As
on
much
those.
as you know they may need it, you're not getting anywhere with them. So how else can you present yourself in a calm and patient manner to at least let them see, yes, I know your feelings and whatever the scenario may be.
I wanted to just jump in for a moment because I think the conversation is so incredible, Brittany. We are closing on the hour. So what I wanted to say was, let's jump through the last couple slides real quick and close the formal portion of this program. And then if you have 10 minutes and you want to hang on and ask a question, we'll hang out in what I call the virtual lobby for a few minutes.
Okay.
But let's just run through those couple spots.
All
and
right.
We'll go while you're doing that. I'll throw a survey into the chat that people can take and let us know how so we can report back to our generous funders and all that kind of stuff. But go ahead and we'll get through those couple things and then we'll hang out a little bit.
All right. So looking at number 4, again, just reflect. Reflect back the feelings, strengths, and ideas I hear when listening. So repeat or rephrase what you have heard, stating the examples of strength, resilience you heard, and point out what next steps you heard the person contemplating without giving advice. Without giving advice is probably the most crucial part of this slide. Don't go into being fixers. Don't be a problem solver. Let them sit with what they came with you to you with. Okay, reflect with them. Number 5, ask how I can be helpful and respond as I am able. Listener can respond as requested and plans with the person how they will do so. So it is okay to ask, is this something you want me to respond to? Or am I just listening? Seek that permission from that person. Person seeking help does not know what would be helpful. So listener asks permission to suggest options. Okay. If you see that they may be struggling with what to do, that is your time to then ask for permission of next steps. But you want to get permission from the person seeking help. You don't want to just go in saying, hey, this is what you should do or what you shouldn't do. Okay, because it's almost taking that person's problem, concern, and making it yours. And then you're ultimately deciding what happens next. Listener cannot respond as requested, so works to find a compromise together. Okay, let's come to a solution together. Or you come to a solution for you. And I just guide or support. Number 6, we'll actually skip this video. Do what I can to connect to other supports if asked. So think of a recent time when you were given advice when you did not want it. Was it helpful? Did it almost make you feel like smaller than? How did it feel to get the advice? And how did that conversation go? Okay, a lot of times we get into conversations where we think we may want advice, and then once it's given, it's almost not helpful or not nowhere near what we needed at that time. Okay, so go in with the right frame of mind, understanding that I'm not here to give advice, I'm here to support. If they ask, then maybe. And even still, giving that advice, problem solving, may not be the best thing. What would have been different had the person asked permission to give advice first? Keeps them in that driver's seat, keeps them in control of their feelings, their thoughts, the situation at hand. And lastly, maintain confidentiality and communicative exceptions exist. Work to both promise to keep the content of the conversation secret and discuss exceptions to that promise. Okay, so just being forthcoming, being direct, being open. As mentioned before, if there are red flags in what you're explaining or letting me know, I want to acknowledge that. I want to address that because safety is first. I want to keep you safe. I want you to feel supported, but what you've shared with me, I have to possibly report or I have to let someone else know. Okay. So just looking at these promises, understanding that we as the ones who may be supporting someone may not be able to fulfill all of these promises, and that is normal. Understanding that all 7 promises may not be fulfilled. Okay, and that just brings me back to understanding what you can take on to not overwhelm yourself, because with being overwhelmed, you then respond in a more negative, almost demeaning, judgmental way. So if you're not able to take on extra, don't put yourself out there as a safe person for that day. Maybe tomorrow you might be that safe person, but today it's okay. It's okay to not be that person for the person who's seeking support. So this just gives a little bit on, displaying the stickers, the goal of the 7 promises and distributing it. I mean, people have mentioned my decal on my phone. I forget it's there sometimes, and they're like, "Oh, what's that sticker?" And it's a conversation starter. It's a way of showing up. Yep, I'm a safe person. Okay, I try to be a safe person every day. I truly do. But I know that some days are harder than others. And I'm okay to say, you know what, today is not the day that I am the person to support you. So lastly, just looking at some language around mental health, things to say, things not to say, and what to say instead. Just changing that perspective, that language of, so looking here, I know what you mean. I had a panic attack when I saw my electric bill. Something is just relatable. I mean, I know when we all look at our electric bill, it's like, holy cow, I use that much electricity this month. Okay. But instead of that, it's more so, okay, do you want to talk about it? I'm always here for you. It opens that door of letting this person now express their feelings and keeping them the center of that attention in that moment. Okay. You don't want to take the attention off them and put it on you, because then it belittles them. It takes away the power that they have and the willingness for them to come to you in the future. So this is a whole document of what to say, what not to say, just so that we can show up in the best way for our friends, our family, our coworkers, ourselves, our kids. I mean, it works with everyone. All right. So the biggest takeaway today is just, how do you show up, and being intentional about how you show up for those you care for and love. All right. Mental health is an ongoing conversation, and we just want to be able to acknowledge, understand that our normal language may not be the right way to show up for someone who is in need of support, who may just need someone to just show up for them at that time in that moment. So thank you. If you are interested in ordering some of the Safe Person decals, the website eliminatestigma.org, safeperson.org, please. Okay, and I hope that just looking at those 7 promises helped you to think back on some experiences, some moments that you've had with people you love, and now you know how to have that shift of, yeah, I know how to show up for them, or understanding that it's okay that you may not be that person to show up. All right, thank you all for your time. I know we went a little over, but I'm so appreciative of the discussions, the chat conversation, truly, because this is huge. This is huge.
Thank you so much, Brittany. I just think you're such an approachable, natural, keeping it real kind of person, and I appreciate all the work and effort into this, and just your passion. We're aligned. Brittany and No Shame on You is aligned. So thank you so much. If you have a moment, check out the survey I put in the chat. We'd love to provide feedback for our generous sponsors. No Shame on You upcoming program. I gave a link. Our next Feed Your Mind series is in April on perinatal and prenatal depression and anxiety. We're partnering with North Shore University Health System's perinatal perinatal center. So we'll send you some information on that. And just thank you. And thank you to Rogers Behavioral Health and Lauren for coordinating this wonderful thing. And we'll hang on for a few minutes if anyone wants to hang in the virtual lobby and ask a question in that space.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.